Hello YouTube universe and welcome to a brand new episode of the United City Randomiser here on my channel, the United City FM. If you've joined me before, then the next part of the United City Randomiser is only moments away. If this is your first time joining me, then maybe you should search out the first episode in the series, as it will give you all the information you need to know exactly what is going on and what this series is all about. Whether you're a first-time viewer or already part of the United City, having pressed the subscribe button, you are most welcome here. But as promised, the time is now for the next part of our journey together, so let's get going. Well, here we are then, back for another season of the United City Randomiser, Season 2. We've got promoted into the Bundesliga in the first season, which was amazing. It's been quite a challenging summer for me to figure out what to do with this group of players, because there was a lot of deadwood, a lot of people I had to get rid of. They weren't good enough, but I didn't have particularly high budget for transfers to bring lots of new people in. So it's been complicated, but I have done it. We are at the point where the transfer window has just closed, so we've played a couple of games already, which you can see here. The top three were our friendly matches. Decent games, decent amount of goals, bit of good confidence for some new players that we'll talk about a lot in a minute. Then we came into our first competitive game of the season and beat Munster in the cup competition, so that sends us through in that, which is another positive, because last season we went out in the very first round. And then we played our first two league games and we got a win and a draw, which I'm really happy about. It's a good start, a solid start to the season. We've been predicted to finish 17th, which is a relegation spot. So you can see that we've got a lot of hard work to actually try and keep our Bundesliga spot for next season. That is our ultimate aim. I don't care about anything else this season, really. I just want to survive in the Bundesliga if possible. So we've had a decent start for that. We're ahead of schedule for that, a win and a draw in the first two games. Today we've got a game against Wolfsburg, which will be coming up in a minute, but we've got a lot of housekeeping to do before that. So let's go and have a look at our transfer dealings for the summer. So the first thing I want to show you is that we got rid of an awful lot of players. A couple of them retired, but we chucked out a load of players on free transfers. I tried to sell most of these players for a fee of some sort or other, but nobody was biting. It was a big problem all summer long. So in the end, I had to cut my losses on a lot of them, primarily to get rid of the wage that they were all taking. I needed to free up the wage budget so I could then maneuver some new deals into the club, which I've since been able to do. So here we go on what we managed to do. We sold a couple of players. We sold three players. Abu Hanna, who played well for us last season. The other two were expected to leave, really, the goalkeeper and central defender. But Abu Hanna went for two reasons. One, we got a decent bid on him. And two, he was earning one of our top wages. And again, I wanted to clear that out, the setup, so we could reorganise our team. So here are our main transfer dealings. You can see there's quite a few free transfers. We've gone quite loan heavy again. We've had to for this particular season. It's not something I really wanted to do, but I didn't have any choice. And we also bought a couple of players in as well. So let's go through them. And we're going to go through them in terms of positions where they play. So we'll start off with our two new goalkeepers. And the first one is Sten Greitbust. And he's going to come in and play as our main goalkeeper. You can see, I think he's an upgrade on what we had last season. 15 handling, lots of 13s around the place, a couple more 15s there. Mentals are pretty good. Physicals possibly could be a bit better here and there, but he's got pretty much everything you need to be a decent goalkeeper. And that's what we're looking for him to become for us. And he was a free transfer, so you can't ask for much more than that. We did spend a little bit of money bringing his understudy in, Robin Zentner. He comes in slightly less in terms of stats, you can see that a bit, but consistent in the goalkeeping stats at least. Mentals could be a bit better here and there, but he's got good determination and good bravery and anticipation. Those are good things to have for a goalkeeper. And you can again see on the physicals, he's got some good stuff there for a goalkeeper. So he's only 24. He's come in for a fee, so he is ours, as is Greitbust. They've both come in to become ours, not on loan. So I think they'll do okay for us this season. I hopefully cement themselves in and maybe last more than one season. We'll find out, but I'm happy that we've definitely upgraded on our goalkeepers, which is one of two main areas that I was trying to, the other one being strikers that we'll get to in a second. So, excuse me. Next along the way, we've got our two new right backs. And this is the guy that I showed you at the back end of last season. We did this deal a little bit earlier in before the transfer window started. So this was always going to be the guy to come in and play as our right back. Again, he's not perfect. You can see that he's got some mental stat issues there. Really, they're okay, but they're nothing more than that. But he's got everything physical and technical that you really need to be a decent enough fullback, and that's what we brought him in to be for now, a decent fullback. The understudy for him, we have bought in, let me find him, here we go, Lucas Klunter. We did buy him, again we spend a little bit of money on him. He's 23 years old, and I think he's got some decent stats. You can see his physicals are very good, his tackling is very good, marking is very good, determination's decent. So, he's got good teamwork and work rate. Those were the other two things that I thought was really going to be necessary, because he's going to be spending quite a bit of time going up and down that right wing whenever he plays. Pace is really good. So you can see he's decent. I don't know how well he'll do, but I think it was a good shout for a second choice right-sided defender. So those are our right backs. Our left backs, we kept two of them. Parensen is on the transfer list, but I couldn't get rid of him, so we kept him. Orez remains at the club and will now play second fiddle to this guy, Philipp Heiss. Another free transfer, which is good. And you can see that I think he's decent for a free transfer. In the Bundesliga, we'll see how he copes, but 13 crossing. Tackling could be a little bit better, but he's got a decent long throw. He's got lots of work rate and teamwork. His pace and his stamina and stuff is good. So there's some things to work in. Again, determination's pretty good as well. So he's going to come in as our first choice left-sided defender, and I think he is a decent shout, especially on a free transfer. So we made a couple of new signings for the central defence. It was another weakish area. We had Gockengol that we have for a second season on loan this season, which is positive. He's now our club captain as well for now, but he's got a new defensive partner, and it's Bogdan Tiru. Again, another free transfer, which I'm pleased about because I think he's got some really good stats. This is going to be a really good guy for us. Comes in at the age of 25, so it's a good age, but he's got everything you need for a really solid central defender. He could do with a little bit more pace, I guess, but other than that, I'm really happy with this guy, and I think he's going to be a real bonus to the side moving forward. The only other defender that I've bought in from outside the club is a loan deal, and it's this guy here, Eric Palmer-Brown. Bought him in from Man City just as a youngster. We needed some more legs in defence, another body in defence, should I say, and he's got some good stats. Again, like a couple of these players, I expect him to progress over this season, being with us and playing a few games here and there. So some of his stats will increase as he goes. And I hope that means that maybe by the second half of the season specifically, he'll be really helpful to have. He's got some iffy stats in mental, but both physical and technical are decent. So he's going to be one of our backup defenders. I'll talk to you about the other backup defender that's come from our under-19s in a little while. So that's the defensive unit sorted as much as we could. The next one up is we kept Stanko as our holding midfield player, but he's got a new understudy, and it's a name that people will recognise, I think, from Football Manager. At 19, Claudio Gomez is a good person to bring in. Again, he's one of these guys that I hope his stats will improve if he plays a few games here and there. And so by the second half of the season specifically, he'll really hopefully come in and be able to play some games for us and have a positive impact on the side. But he's got some good stats there as a sound base. So that's our holding player. We had Burnich on a second season loan for our creative midfielder, If you remember last season, we also had Majecszak on loan as his understudy, and we've managed to get Majecszak back again. So he continues to understudy Burnic in the centre of midfield. Our two Metzala role players, who were they? Wassi and Bischoff, remain at the club, so they're going to continue in that role. So the next new person to bring in was we brought in a new right-sided midfielder. Remember last season, excuse me, we had Wayland, I think his name was, and he wasn't quite good enough. Kinsvatter remains, but is going to be very periphery. I just couldn't find an alternative, so he stays on the right side. But we had Darday last season as a loan player. We have actually got him back again. He is going to play for us this season on another loan deal, but he's going to play as understudy to Patrick Roberts, who comes in from Man City again. Is an upgrade on what we've had. He's got some good stats playing off that right hand side as an inside forward, so cutting in on his left foot. He's got some good finishing, good long shots, good free kick taking, good dribbling, good pace. So yeah, there's lots to work with there, and decent passing as well. So he's going to play from our right wing primarily, but Darday is back in the club as another season-long loan, and he'll get some game time here and there as well. On the left-hand side, what did we do on the left-hand side? We kept what we had. We had Bertram, and we had... your mind goes blank sometimes. Let me think. Hisner, was it? Yeah, something like that. Those were the two that we had as a left-sided midfield role. They stay in the club, so again they're going to rotate round, but Bertram is definitely our first choice on that side. So now we get to the real problem area of last season. We couldn't get strikers last season who scored goals for us, and I've taken the step to loan in a couple of players, but I think these two are going to be much, much better for us. So of course this is the guy everybody knows about, Gabriel Barbosa. You've probably all had him on a save at some point in your Football Manager career, because he's been around for years, seemingly since he was like 15, 16, and has been useful to have in lots of different saves. So this is our lone central striker that's going to come in and play that lead role for us. He is such a step up from what we had last season. We'll see how many goals he gets, but he's got everything he needs to be able to get a few. You can see he's already started and scored a bit, so that's good in his stats. But he's got everything I need, and he was definitely the best player I could find to bring in on loan to lead our front line, which is really positive. I'm very happy about that. And this is going to be his primary backup, Jean-Philippe Mateta, yeah. And he came in for a free transfer. Did he come in for a free or a loan? Sorry. Oh, he came in on a loan. I thought that was the case. So he isn't as good as Barbosa is, obviously, but he's got some good pace about him. He's good off the ball, so his movement will be good. He's got decent technique, but he's got decent finishing, first touch, and composure's pretty good as well. So he's got lots of decent attributes at 22 to come in and be able to support our striker Barbosa and hopefully get some goals when he gets some games. But yeah, he may not be the best, but again, he's a real jump up in quality from what we had last season. They just weren't good enough. So those are the primary transfers that we've made. There's a couple of other guys that I want to talk to you about. Just going through our squad list. This is the first one. If you remember at the very beginning of last season, I showed you this guy and he wasn't able to play because he wasn't old enough. He's now 17, so he's able to play for us. Again, look, the simple reality is I didn't want to bring in any more loan players than I already have. I feel we're too loan-centric as it were already. So I had to promote something from my youth just to sort of supplement our squad a little bit. And he's one of two players that I've decided to do that with. So you can see his stats need a lot of improvement, especially in the mental area. Half of them are not good enough. His lack of determination might hold him back in the long run, really. But for now, he may not get an awful lot of game time, but he'll get some, and we'll develop him as we go, as he trains with the first team. And it's decent to bring up a couple of our young players at this point in our campaign. So he's in the squad. The other young player that I've brought up, you can see as we move down, there's Majecszak back and there's Darday back. is this guy down the bottom here. This is the other youngster, Eric R. Now, he's only 16, but he turns 17 before the end of the calendar year, so that makes him eligible. Again, he's got a lot of improving to do because he's so young, but as a young striker, he's got 14 finishing, he's got a little bit of pace about him, he's got some other good stats around. Obviously, there's loads of gaps here that hopefully will fill up as we progress with him and train him up a little bit and put him in the first team training setup, etc. He's got some good potential ability here. So it's worth, with Barbosa, who's going to play most of the games, and Mateta, who's going to come in and replace him if need be. Occasionally, if we find R on the bench, Eric R on the bench, or he gets occasional cup game or whatever, it's still going to benefit him to be around our first team squad, and we'll try and get him as much game time as we can, and we'll probably spend a few months here and there putting him back eligible for the lower team as well, just to get him a bit of game time. But in general, I think it was worth doing rather than just bringing even more loan players. We've got about 7, I think it is, and that's far too many in my mind already, really, for loan. I would have preferred maybe 4 at the most. But we'll work towards that over the next couple of seasons. We'll bring those down as we make more money, if we can stay in this league. So you can see this is our general homepage. As we currently are, we're sitting in 10th place after 2 games, which is magnificent. We've got the Wolfsburg game coming up. In terms of our finances, if you remember, we didn't have much to spend. In the end, we bumped it up by the sale of a couple of players. We spent a bit of it. We haven't got much left, but we're comfortably within our transfer budget at the moment. 24 grand left on that a week, which is positive for now. And you can see that having got promotion, we got a decent amount of prize money last season. So we start in a very good place in terms of our balance in general. So if, and it is a big if, we are, as I say, potentially supposed to finish 17th this season in the season preview. But if we were to finish in this division next season and stay, then the prize money from that alone will send us through the roof in terms of what we've got available to us. And hopefully then we can start to really cement our place in the Bundesliga and look towards the future. But that's for another day. We start a very long, hard campaign against some very good teams. And today is the first of those games for us to share together, and that's against Wolfsburg. So let's go and see what happens. So here we are on our team page for the game that we're just about to play against Wolfsburg, and let's run through the team so we know what's going on. So it's Greitbust in goal, Kreuzer at right back, Gull and Tiru in the centre of defence, Heiss at left back, Stanko as the holding player, Burnich as the creative player in midfield, Wassi as the Metzala role attacking from midfield, Roberts on the right, Bertram on the left, Barbosa up front. And we've got the bench of Eric Palmer, Brown, Klunter, Orez, Majekshak, Darday, Hilsner, who I couldn't remember earlier for some reason, and Mateta. That's our bench for today. So this is the team that have played the last couple of games, got a couple of decent results. Obviously, again, you can tell that relationships need to be built, etc. in terms of playing, but this core central unit here, the 3 of them that have played before together, I hope will help us in the early part of the season to really move forward and get some positive results. We stay on the custom wing play that we were playing a bit last season. We're in a positive mentality. We've got lots of other stats that I can show you in terms of how we're setting up. But as is always the case, if this doesn't work for whatever reason in this particular league, then we can change it quite happily, and I will happily do that if in the long run it doesn't really do what we want it to do. But you can see here, this is the way that we're going to set up to play at the start of the campaign at least. So that's the team, that's the structure. Everybody is good in terms of how they play in their positions. I've hopefully brought in the right sorts of players for how I want to play. So let's get into the game. So Wolfsburg are playing the same formation that we are. So that will be an interesting matchup. There should be some space to manoeuvre in though, which is good. They're not playing the sort of more defensive formations that we came up against a lot last season. I tried to be really positive in the build up to this in terms of team talks and stuff. So I told them to really go out there and give these fans the performance they're looking for, but positively. And then individual groups of the team, I've positively encouraged them to go and perform well, and really tried to big them up. And you can see it's done okay. We got some motivated players. Everybody else seems happy enough. So we'll see what happens. Here we go into kickoff, and we get to kick off and move the ball backwards to our defence, keeping the ball nicely, which is a good start. Let's see how the stats progress as we move forward. We have the first attempt at goal, but it didn't go on target. We've started to lose possession, as is often the case in the early parts of our games, but we often come back into it as the game moves on. Possession, I swing between, do I want high possession and to control the game, or do I mind if we're playing well and getting our shots away and putting goals away to win matches, even if the possession is lower? So on any given day I can swing between the two, but for now it's not bad. We maintain a 0-0 against Wolfsburg with 24 minutes gone. Not a lot of highlights, but here's the first one, and it's ours. Long throw comes in on the edge of the box. Bertram has a shot. Burnich with a follow-up shot. Both were stopped by the goalkeeper. We still have it. It comes back to Burnich on the... Oh, what a wonderful long shot that is from Burnich. That's what we found a little bit last season, that some of our long shots from the edge of the box were pretty good, and Burnich shows why at this point. So you can see his first shot gets saved. Comes out to Bertram, who gets Heiss on the ball, who passes it back to the edge of the box to Burnich and powers it in past the goalkeeper, who really didn't stand a chance at that. Lovely first goal of this particular live commentary. But we've picked up an injury. Gokhan Goal, what's gone on with him? Let's see what the injury is. Potential arm injury. Well, hopefully long term that's not going to cause too much of a problem to our guy in central defence, but obviously on this particular occasion we are going to have to take him off. So Eric Palmer-Brown comes in a little bit earlier than I would have liked in terms of his own development, but that's what we have him here for, is to play back up to our defenders when need be and get games here and there. So on we come, Mr. Palmer-Brown, and we'll see whether we can maintain our defensive solidity as we move forward now that Gokhan Goal has unfortunately had to go off. We picked up a yellow card for Barbosa. We have had similar amounts of shots on goal and target as they have, so it's a fairly even game, but that one strike earlier in the first half has really made the difference to us. Hopefully we can get through to the last couple of minutes of half time and maintain that lead. It's the ball is with us and back with them again. They win it, but again we pick it up. Or what's happening here? It looks like we're trundling towards half time, to be honest, but eventually we've picked up the ball and Gabriel Barbosa missed out on it. So they now counter-attack on us on their left wing. Can we hold our shape? Oh, lovely ball over the top. Hit the post or the bar, one or the other. But that carved us open on the left-hand side of our defence. Again, they continue to come forward. Sorry, my tongue-tied nature on these things is there for all to see. But yeah, this was a decent ball. He managed to get straight through between our full-back and our left-sided defender and get a decent shot on goal that hit the woodwork. So we were a bit lucky there in the last bit of the first half. But looks like we've made it through to half time and we are 1-0 up. So let's go in and sort out the team talk for this particular half. I think we should try and encourage the team. Excuse me, is what my assistant says. New assistant, by the way, Jean-Carlos Unzu. I'll show you some staff things as we progress through the season, but I won't do that today. But he thinks we should encourage them. I agree with that. We're 1-0 up. We're doing okay. Let's say you've played well, but there is still room for some improvement. Keep them on their toes a little bit. Yeah, that didn't do an awful lot, but we'll leave that there and go back into the second half. Very positive in terms of getting the one goal in the first half. Can we build on that lead, maybe nick a second one and make it a bit more comfortable for ourselves? Decent defensive work there as they were coming forward. It's our goal kick. Greitbust up front. We lose the ball there, but gain it on the second bounce of the ball. Roberts with the cross in, over to too high for him. Bertram does exactly the same and back to Roberts. They're playing ping pong across the whole area. Ball comes back in again. We lose out on that. Oh no, Palmer Brown loses the ball. Their striker comes forward, and that's 1-1. We got countered on quite badly there, and Eric Palmer Brown, unfortunately, with a bit of an error, that's going to knock his confidence. But he's young, and we've got to give him a chance when we have to. Really, Gok on goal was a big miss on that one, though. Decent strike, but there was a lot for him to aim at by the time he'd gone through on goal 1-on-1, and he didn't make any mistakes. So we kick off again. Can we counter that goal very quickly and get one of our own and really stamp our authority back on the game? Who knows? Let's see. Burnich with the ball, out left to Bertram, cuts inside. Nice ball to Barbosa, strikes at goal, but straight at the goalkeeper, and it was a decent but fairly easy save by the goalkeeper. Our corner, though. So the corner comes in and comes back out to Wassy, who took the corner in the first place, back in again, and we have another corner on the other side this time. So we're piling on the pressure. Can we get a decent delivery? And Wassy with the ball. No, doesn't beat the first guy on that particular occasion. This is the original highlight for Bertram coming in and Barbosa taking a shot that hit straight at the goalkeeper, unfortunately. Either side, and he would have had a decent shout at a goal there, I would have thought. But at least we're, moving forward, getting some shots away, which is all very positive. If you remember, for last season, lots of times we had loads of space between highlights and very dull games at times. So a bit more exciting, a bit more forward thinking. We're in the 58th minute. We'll give it another 10 minutes or so before we think about some personnel changes, maybe, just to give some fresh energy for the last bit of the game. But it's been okay, and we unfortunately lost that goal to go 1-1, but I'm happy enough with the performance at the moment. So let's do what we said and make some changes at this point. Wassy's very low on conditioning, so we're going to have to take him off. So we'll bring Majed Shak on for that. And then we've got no other player is suffering health-wise in terms of condition-wise, so we can look at what ratings we've got. Unfortunately today, Barbosa doesn't seem to be having a particularly good game, having scored already this season. He's a bit nervous and he's picked up a yellow card. So we're going to bring him out, and we're going to give I struggle with his last name for whatever, Mateta. I will get used to that. We're going to bring him on for the last section of the game and see if his pace up front can get us a couple more opportunities as we close out this game. Here we go. It's their possession. Sweeping ball over to the left-hand side. We nearly cut it out but didn't quite manage it. They pick it up again, brings it all the way forward, has a shot on goal, but it was wide. Bit too open maybe. I don't have my players diving in on challenges. I find that too problematic in terms of picking up too many suspensions later in the season, but maybe we can, in a couple of individual cases, I can go into their player options and make a couple of them a bit more solid in terms of going in for the ball. We've got 82 minutes gone. Here's another highlight. It's our cross for the corner. Comes out to the edge of the area to Roberts. Can he get a shot away? He doesn't, but Mateta... has it been given offside? Yeah, it's been given offside. I thought that might be the case. It was a wild shot a little bit by Roberts. Mateta used the momentum of the ball to put it to the goal, but he was in an offside position. I thought that might be the case. So they now have the ball centrally. Oh, Mateta nicks the ball off them and uses his pace to get away from his defender. Has a shot on goal, but the goalkeeper comfortably puts it wide. But again, we've got another corner. It's good. We're getting lots of opportunities for corner kicks that we've set up in our set pieces part of the game. Yeah, nothing came from that. We had a block shot. But we've got to work a little bit on where we're putting our corners and who we're delivering to. I'll continue to tweak that as the season progresses. They're now on their highlight. It gets swept out wide to the left. Can he go past the defender? He can. He crosses it in. Decent first shot, decent second shot. And both times our goalkeeper stops the ball from going in the goal, which is good goalkeeping, very good goalkeeping. Good shot stopper. So you can see he goes past our defender, crosses the ball into the far post. Was that off the bar possibly first time? I don't know, but decent goalkeeping anyway, which I'm really pleased about. Again, that's the upgrade of our keeper. Their corner kick. Are they going to get a shot away? They are. And just as I'm praising our goalkeeper, we let another goal in, which is very disappointing late in the game. I thought we were doing pretty well up till this point, but some confusion in the corner marking. The ball comes to the edge of the area. He brings it out to the wide right of the area and then shoots past the goalkeeper, who was a bit static and didn't really get down for the shot at all. That looks like we might have unfortunately lost this particular game. I could do lots of shouts and challenging them to move forward and all sorts of other things, but to be honest, we didn't have much time left. There you go, 2-1 defeat. I'm disappointed in that really because of the start that we made, but there are some positives in the way that we've played. We might have to change the possession stats again. As I say, I move up and down on what we should be doing about that a bit. But our shots amounts was good. Shots on target we could up a little bit. Players played okay here and there. Burnich with his goal and some creative influence played well. We've got some improvement to do, but again, relationships of players haven't been built up yet in terms of playing together. We had to change too many. The performance was disappointing. I will say that just because I think, that's going to really challenge them to be better next time, and they look fired up for that, so that's a good thing. So if we move through from this point and see what that does to our position in the table, it's going to knock us down a bit into 11th. Again, seriously, if at the end of the season I'm in 15th and we survive, I will be happy enough with that. Anything above that I will happily take, but that's our only aim really, is just to stay in this division and be able to move our club forward as we progress. So that'll do it for the end of this particular episode, this particular game. I will see you next time. Thanks very much for watching this episode of the United City Randomiser save. If you enjoyed the video, then why not click on the like button, as that would really help me. If you think you know anyone who would really enjoy my Football Manager content, then feel free to share this with them. But most importantly, if you would like to join my United City here on YouTube, then hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with my video releases. If you have anything you want to say about the United City save or the channel itself, then feel free to leave a comment below, but please try and be nice with each other. That'll do for today, so until next time, stay happy and healthy, and I will see you soon.